Greetings everybody, I am here today with another box filled with durians that was sent to me by Lindsay Gasik. If you've been watching for a while, you may remember an episode I did a while back where Lindsay sent me some durians that she found in the Philippines. Well, these ones are not from the Philippines, they're from Borneo. If you want to try this, you can actually get one of these boxes yourself. If you watch this when I post it, it is currently available, but you can also check her website. She, I think, will be continuing to do things like this in the future, and she has other sorts of products available as well. These are durians that have been frozen, but it's not frozen in the same way like durians you get from like an Asian supermarket are frozen. Those ones are frozen in a way that make the durian absolutely inedible. How she did it was she had these blast frozen that freezes it so quickly that it keeps the durian intact when it thaws out, so it doesn't mess up like the cell wall or something like that. I don't fully understand it, but when I had it last time, the one she sent from the Philippines, they did not even taste like frozen durian, they tasted fresh. So you can really see the amount of care that went into this box. It gives little stories about the vendors who collect and sell these durians. So here we've got Madam Ting, here we've got Jenny and Nora. And one thing that all of these durians have in common is that the vendors that collect and sell these durians are all women, which is sometimes kind of rare with the durian world. So when you open up the box, you're first greeted by these postcards here. These have the different types of durian that are in the box. It has a little picture of them, and the name and a description of that durian. So all three of these are hybrid durians between the Durio Z and Durio graveolens, which I'm probably pronouncing graveolens wrong, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce Durio Z. It's this. Yeah, whatever. So if you take those two species and you hybridize them together, you get a new type of durian species, and those can have different varieties depending on what variety of Durio Z and which variety of Durio graveolens were hybridized together. You get a different result, and those hybrids can also be planted, I'm assuming, and give you different types of trees. So there will be a huge variation between the different durians in this box, even though they are all the same hybrid. I have had Durio Z and a few different varieties. I had one Durio graveolens at some point, but I've never had a combination of the two. So this is a new one for me. So when you open up this, you have this kind of like foam packaging in here, and it has these little fridge coolers in here. So we've got this one here. This is Suluk Kuning. We've got this one here. Ooh, this is Suluk King. And finally we have Otak Udang Gala. I'm excited about this, guys. This is really cool. Just trying one of these would be like a major feat for me, but getting 3 different varieties of this very rare hybrid is that is a rare opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to eat these in the order that Lindsay suggests. It says number 1, eat Suluk Kuning. Yeah, that smells good. It has a very strong sulfuric smell. Yeah, just holding on to this, it is quite dense. It is not as soft and fluffy as your normal durian would be. Yeah, and if you look on the inside, it's got, definitely is pastier. Oh man, that is good. The sweetness on this is, I'd say probably more than your standard durian. Maybe like a 5. It's got a little bit of tartness to it, but not a whole lot. Maybe like a 1 out of 10. There's a lot going on in there. It tastes like durian, but a little bit more eggy, maybe a little bit like jackfruit. It's like if you took durian, jackfruit, and egg fruit and mixed them together. That's the flavor. The texture is kind of like that too. It's pastier, a little firmer, the way that egg fruit would be. There's a little bit of a rubberiness as you get closer to the seed, which is a little bit more like jackfruit, but at the same time does have your distinct durian flavor to it. This being a hybrid of the Graveolens and Durio Z makes a lot of sense with that texture, because Graveolens is very firm compared to a Durio Z. This is definitely not your standard durian. For second in line to eat is the Suluk King. It has the sticky texture of a peanut butter chew, but a fruitiness not unlike tropical bubblegum. It definitely does have a nuttiness to it. You can see what she's talking about like peanut butter chew, because it smells kind of like peanuts or sesame seeds or something. That is not like any kind of durian I've ever had. That is very, very strange. It's not like any fruit that I've had, but it's good. I say the sweetness on this one, 7. And it has like a little touch of tartness to it. Not like a whole lot. Maybe like a 2 out of 10. The flesh on it is very scant. There's just like a little bit of flesh around it. But that flesh is packed with flavor. Very dense, very fatty tasting. So it feels like a durian concentrate around the seed. How she described the flavor is pretty accurate to this. I'm not really getting a whole lot of jackfruit, but peanut butter in texture and a little bit in flavor. It's got like a little bit of a roastiness to it that peanut butter would have. Not much of a peanut flavor, but there is a little bit of a nuttiness to it. It's kind of hard to eat because it's like so thick that you have to give it a second to swallow it if you want to talk, because it's like getting peanut butter on like the roof of your mouth. I'm getting what she's saying about it tasting like bubblegum. I don't especially like the flavor of bubblegum, like that tutti frutti sort of flavor. It doesn't taste like bubblegum in the sense that I don't like it. It tastes like bubblegum in the sense where there's like a lot of little fruit flavors in there. Finally, the Otak Udang Gala. That name, Otak Udang Gala, doesn't refer to one specific variety, but the coloring of this one. It's any orange red, dark pink, tiger striped, or darker red durian that is sweet. This gorgeous sunset of a durian offers a sophisticated nose of red wine. Slightly tannic, bitter, and sometimes so alcoholic its berry liqueur can engulf your senses. That sold me. I mean, that is quite the flavor profile right there. It smells a bit like a fine wine. It smells a lot like the last one I had, the second one, where there's like a nuttiness in there. And this is like a cross between the two as far as texture goes. It's like, yeah, it actually has a little bit of the coloring of the two together too. It's like a little bit of yellow and a little bit of orange together, and it is firm but also pasty and a little oily looking too. It's actually, yeah, it's making my fingers shine. So there's got to be a lot of fat content in this one. The sweetness on this one is maybe a 6. Tartness, it's like a 1. It's not very tart. It's a bit more bitter than the other two. Like there's a touch of like dark chocolate in it or something. It's not really chocolatey, but like the bitterness that you would get from something more fatty rather than the bitterness you'd get from something like citrusy. And it tastes quite similar to the last one I had, but more complex. So that nuttiness, that little bit of a peanut butter sort of flavor, I'm getting that again, but with the addition of like a tingly wine sort of flavor. and a bit more like berries. Raspberry, wine, dark chocolate, and peanut butter. It's a weird combination, but that actually really works. So if you're the sort of person that doesn't really like durian, like you don't like your standard durian, all three of these I think would be easier to take than your regular durian. If you have a problem eating like sulfuric tasting things or oniony things, like these ones are more towards the fruit side than a savory side. So picking a favorite out of these three is not easy. The second one, the Saluk King, I think I would put that in third place. Not that it's bad at all, it's actually really, really good, but it's similar enough to the third one, the Otak Udang Gala. And the Otak Udang Gala has a little bit more complexity to it. So I'm going to give this a slight edge above the second one just because of that. And comparing the first one and the third one, they're both very good, but this one is very intense. So I think it would depend what kind of mood I'm in. If I want something that's a little bit more mild, a little bit more like a sweet, fruity flavor, I would go with the first one. If I want something that's got a little bit more intensity, maybe something just to have one little piece after a meal or something, I think maybe I would go with the third one. So I give these two a tie. I give these both the gold medal, and the second one I give the silver medal. This has been a great experience, so I want to thank Lindsay again for sending these to me. This is great to get a chance to try not just 3 varieties of durian that I've never had, but a species of durian that I've never had. I think what Lindsay's doing, like going to other countries and collecting fruit like this that is so hard to get outside of very, very specific parts of the world, and giving people the chance to try this themselves, is very, very cool. So for those who want to try fruit that don't have the ability to travel, or if you don't want to go all the way out to Limbang, Borneo to try some fruit, this is a great alternative. So if you want to try this yourself, check out the link right here or in the description below. It's a little bit expensive. It's I think $96 or something. But when you consider what it is, that's actually very reasonable to get what would be 10 pounds of durians equivalent from Borneo without having to go to Borneo. That is very rare, and it is in a limited quantity, so if you want to try it, you gotta get it soon. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you, Lindsay, for sending this to me, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. I want to give a special shout out to AltPod and Smarter Every Day. They are mega patrons over on patreon.com. Patreon is how this channel happens. It's how I can afford to do all the things that I do. So if you want to help me out by supporting the channel and getting some bonuses along the way, check out the description. I also have these shirts for sale. Those are in the description as well. See you next time. Bye.